of our growing activity with Lancashire's business community.
Business Link is our headline sponsor.
Ask questions of some of our leading business lines.
I don't think wheels ever get reinvented, so I think businesses that are looking to develop and grow, particularly go on fast growth, are looking for the same opportunities as they are in any type of business cycle. I think from our point of view and from some of my own personal experience from the past, there are growing pains that come with looking at these opportunities. If you've gone through difficult times, particularly over the last 1 or 2 years, and something is presented to you, it's actually ultimate temptation, and it's very easy to get a bit of an adrenaline thrown and think, well, I will go for that because it's the right thing to do, and I haven't had an opportunity for so long. It's growth for my business. But, you know, like the wheel never gets reinvented, turnover is vanity, profit is sanity, and I think I hear it a lot as I go around, and it's the truth, it's the way that it is. Turnover is vanity at the end of the day. I think if you're looking for growth, it will have a cash stretch, particularly on a small business. I think you've got a particularly high growth. I think it's easy to lose control of some of the measures that you put in your business. Chances if you are a small business, you may not have the infrastructure initially in, or indeed the people or the management structure of your small business to be able to develop and grow quickly. So I think as opportunities come along, you've got to start thinking about how your framework and what infrastructure you've got to actually cope with it. Growth in any type of business, and again I've experienced this myself, I've got the scars, will expose any weaknesses that are in the business. So as we start to come out, and hopefully we are starting to come out slowly from where we've been, and there are opportunities, it's a good chance to actually try and strengthen up your business and look at your team and look at the infrastructure that you've got to be able to cope with it. You will manage cash flow in a totally different way if you're in a high growth situation. It may even change the sources of finance that you get. So they're all things I think to help within the mix if you're developing and growing into the future.
We found it quite difficult to get the people we need within the market sector that we've got, specifically in selling the products. So obviously we need to bring sales in, as Len mentioned earlier. That obviously drives margin, and it actually starts the vehicle actually rolling and oils the cogs for all the other departments, for admin, warehouse, shipping it, our embroidery department actually stitching it. So without the sales we can't go anywhere. Now there's two very important things. We need industry product knowledge, because we've got 17,000 products. And then we actually need to have the guys motivated to actually get on the phone and actually contact people and sell. And we've had a huge problem in finding people with the right skill sets. So we are, as of the 1st of April, embarking on an MVQ program for our whole sales team to actually, again, improve their confidence. We trialled it in admin, and we did it in customer services and credit control. There is a real shortage of people out there, and I think as we're sort of coming through this recession, we're finding it even more difficult. I mean, if we go back sort of 3 or 4 months, we would actually recruit someone, we'd have a few days to actually make a decision, possibly arrange a second interview, and they would still be available. And what we're finding now is they're being snapped up. So I think there are positive signs that we are moving, either positive signs that we're coming out of the recession, or that everyone's sort of being very optimistic. But there is movement, there is a skill shortage, and we would love to find an excellent way of finding people that got the skill sets that we need. So we've constantly, throughout the recession, retrained our staff to try and keep the experience, the knowledge and the skill sets in our company.
It's a very good question, but it's a difficult one to answer. Obviously, because the industry is going through a very difficult economic climate, which is reducing the options. But most definitely, people have to recognize that in Lancashire, we have an industry which is thriving, a manufacturing sector that is most probably well above the national average. Most definitely our service industry has excellent examples. Steve mentioned earlier the BIBA Awards last week, where in one room, nearly 800 people representing the most successful companies across Lancashire, they were in the same area. And Norman actually got the award, as we have said earlier, as the Businessman of the Year. I believe that people need to recognize that there is a two-way commitment. It's a commitment to what businesses can do for graduates, and also a commitment of what graduates have to do for industry. Graduates have to recognize that the first 2 or 3 years they're employed, they're actually there to absorb information, to improve and customize the knowledge they got from the university and enhance it. And therefore, if you do that, the quality of life that now is emerging out of Lancashire, and I'm very optimistic that Lancashire's life, the quality of life has improved immensely over the last few years, and I'm equally confident that not only will continue, but will increase disproportionately. I believe that graduates need to focus their mind on businesses that perhaps they are growing, businesses that the sector they have a keen interest themselves, rather than trying to just get a job, to just go to the company that most definitely they can actually improve their skills and deliver what they think it is closer to their heart and they're more able to deliver. And 3 or 4 years later, then they can start hunting for better jobs. But the first 3 or 4 years is a matter of commitment of graduates to industry.
Absolutely, and I think for the universities and the colleges in the area, you know, we are working with local organisations such as the County Council and Business Link, and also out there engaging with employers, because these things can't be changed short term. There has to be a longer term lead up to sort of skills change. So we are working with employers, we are working to make our graduates more employable, the colleges are working with lower level employees. I think it's a shame that some businesses have cut training during the recession, but I think there's some good vibes out there that a lot of businesses have tried not to do that. They've tried, as Norman said, to invest in their staff and hang on to their staff, and that now is starting to pay off. There are some good people out there, but we do need to do more skills training, both for young people and also to sort of retrain and redeploy people who've maybe come from a sector that isn't so vibrant at present, and they need skills training in other sectors.
I've given answers about where we've done some practical stuff working with the graduates, but a generic answer is definitely a two-way process. I mean, if a graduate walks into an employer and says, right, what can you do for me? I would suggest that's not the best opening remark for an interview agenda. But for me, with our levels are around 50 new starts per 10,000 people. We're trying to push that up. That's something as a target, but that's certainly in line with national average. The infrastructure we have, road networks, what a fantastic place to live Lancashire is. The whole agenda around starting your own business. The fact is that our schools are excellent, crime levels are lower than many other places in the UK. This is a fantastic place to work, live and play, and I think we should market Lancashire far better. I mean, I don't know if you said the word Lancashire to you, what's the first thing you think of? And you do think of rolling hills, don't you? And I remember producing some video to promote Lancashire, and I managed to persuade the guy that was in Lord of the Rings to do the language in the background, because his brother lives in Clitheroe, so we got him on the cheap. I think we did it for free, actually. So, you know, that sort of image is a very powerful one for me, and therefore I think it's a two-way process. There are jobs here, and it is a good place to live, work and play.
98% of registered companies in this country employ fewer than 20 people. Something like, at the moment, 80-odd% of new formations of companies are self-employed without employees.